Hi everyone. I want to tell you about my story of going to fruit festivals back in the day and even recently, and some of the things that have happened in stories and all that. And I want to, obviously, we're doing the UK Fruitfest this year. If you want to check it out, you can click on the link below and find more in the description, or go to fruitfest.co.uk and you can find out about it. Um, I got into the raw vegan lifestyle 2011, and it was the end of a long process of experimenting with improving my health through making dietary modifications. When I was in my probably late teens, I already started to feel like my health was going downhill. And what I would say is not crazily, not like I was falling apart. I wasn't getting seriously sick. Um, but I was just feeling like I was fatigued sometimes, and I was thinking, people say that you're young, you're meant to have all this energy, feel invincible, and I wasn't feeling like that. I was feeling tired or fatigued or kind of down or low in energy a lot of the time, and I probably didn't have a really good mindset along with that, and I was kind of down and depressed and didn't was kind of struggling with making new friends, especially when I left school, went to university, struggling to fit in and meet people, and I was kind of just in my own world, at that age, not uncommon, 17, 18 sort of thing. Um, but I'd spent all my childhood like playing sports, loved sports. Um, not never played for a club, never played like a high level, but learned how to play all these different sports, tennis and football, and we used to do athletics. Me and my brothers, we would run around the the street that we used to live on. It was almost like a track around it. It was almost like the street was the size of like a racing track, so we could run around it and pretend we were in the Olympics or whatever. Or we'd play tennis when Wimbledon was on. We'd start to play snooker when the snooker was on. We'd play football throughout the year. We'd play a bit of rugby. We'd do all that stuff, and um, but I was always feeling like there was something missing. Like I was never getting the best out of myself, fitness wise and health wise, and started to feel my energy, my fatigue, kind of my this fatigue thing happening a bit more in my kind of late teens. But I guess I sort of ignored it a fair deal, and I loved food. I was really into food, but my big thing was sugar. I binged on sugar all the time. I binged on sweets. I binged on soft drinks, pastries, um, but children's sweets. That's what I kind of loved. Like children's sweets, like I don't know what you would call it in different countries, like sour, like really sweet, really sour, really stimulating sweet things. Loved it, and used to eat tons of it. And the funny thing was though, that was kind of my vice because I didn't smoke. I'd had an uncle that was a smoker. My parents didn't smoke, but I remember my uncle telling us not to smoke. And and in my generation, like less people probably started to smoke anyway, so it wasn't a big peer pressure thing to smoke. Drinking, I experimented with a tiny amount, and then a friend of mine, very driven guy, he kind of said, "That's why would you drink?" And it was silly, and I just realized, yeah, there's not really any reason to do this. So I decided not to drink either. And that sort of fit in with my nature. I liked being a bit different to everyone else. I liked kind of going against what other people were doing. Don't know why, but I liked that a little bit. I didn't really like the attention that it got because I've never really liked lots of attention. But so over the years, I'd have to explain that quite a lot. But regardless of all that, not smoking, not drinking, but was just not feeling that great and getting a little bit depressed as well at that sort of age. And I just started to realize that having been this good student in school, doing well in school, and things going quite well, and then leaving school, going to university, and just not doing really well, and things not really working out, and my life didn't really seem to be going forward the way I wanted it to, and things like that. Got a little bit depressed, felt kind of low energy, and over the years I started to think I need to make some kind of a change. Um, but I felt the change I had to make was something internal. There was something inside that had to change rather than I'm going to find some magic solution out there. I don't know where I had that insight from, but I thought I need to do something about me, like change something about me. And I started to realize that these times when I was feeling fatigued and tired, it was to do with eating all this sugar. And I was having all this sugar and I was having a big crash after it. And I started to see it. I started to see the connection. And gradually I started to think, maybe I should actually do something about this. And gradually I started to experiment with it. And I would go a day where I'd try and give up the sugar and see what would happen. And that was like the first experiment. And then after many months or years, eventually I actually managed to or decided to give up sugar and actually did it. And I gave it up and I felt a big transformation very quickly. And I started to learn about the detox thing because I saw spots coming out of my skin. I lost weight almost instantly. I felt like I could see weight come off very quickly. I woke up in the morning and felt alert for the first time in many, many years, felt clearer. And on the day that I gave up the sugar, I remember having a headache all day. And I thought, if this stuff gives me a headache when I don't have it, there's something wrong here, There's something wrong about this relationship with this food. So I made the decision, give it up. And I managed to do it, and it was very, very difficult, and I failed many times, many, many times. But eventually I managed to do it consistently. I was working in a supermarket at the time, and I basically just said, I'm going to change my Coca-Cola to Diet Coke. I'm going to change my sweet snacks. I'm going to have fruit instead or things. So I was starting to look for no sugar products. So I would go and look at things and try and find no sugar. And it was hard to find no sugar, especially for sweet things. And I learned so much because I realized, oh wow, everything that is sweet has sugar in it. Like I didn't realize cornflakes had sugar. I thought the cornflakes themselves probably had some flavor to them. But I looked at the side of the packet and I realized they've got sugar in it. And then I remember thinking, oh, cinnamon is sweet. And I had maybe added some cinnamon to something and there was no sweetness to it. And I thought, wow, there's no sweetness in cinnamon. It's the sugar that's added. And on and on and on, I would start to find that. And the only things that had sweetness in it were milk and fruit, really. They didn't have sugar in it. But there was also some products, and there was usually, or it was often raw. Now, I didn't think about that at the time too much, but that was some of my first interactions with the concept of raw food products. And also, just as a natural result of cutting out sugar, I actually increased my carbohydrate intake, complex carbohydrates, because I was eating potatoes and stuff at the time. I didn't realize that I would do that. But that happened. I adapted to this new diet and I felt better, and I thought, this is it. I've solved the diet mystery, and everyone needs to do this. And this is it. You cut out sugar and that's it. You're healthier. You're never going to put on weight. Everything's fine. Never convinced anyone else to stop eating sugar, but that's what I did. About a year or two down the road, went to stay with my auntie and had some, and she drank a lot of caffeine, a lot of tea and coffee. And so I was drinking a lot of tea and coffee with her. I came back and I was drinking lots of tea. And I thought, this is the same kind of feeling as the sugar. Like I feel like I'm kind of addicted to it. So I thought, right, I'm going to cut this out. Managed to cut out the tea and the coffee and the caffeine. Once again, detox. Felt better, felt clearer. Had a crazy experience where I got really angry, raging when I was trying to cook something threw a knife at the wall, totally not like me, but I realised I'd just given up this coffee and caffeine, and it was crazy. So I managed to cut that. And then I thought, wow, I've really solved it now. No sugar, no caffeine. This is it, you know. Went on from there, and I was always like, if you think about it, if you're in any average town in the UK and you're not drinking alcohol, not smoking cigarettes, you're not consuming any soft drinks, anything with sugar in it, and you're not consuming any caffeine, you're instantly the healthiest person around, pretty much. You're instantly the healthiest person around. So that's what I felt like. And I thought I solved it all. And a couple of years down the line, I was going to these spiritual classes. I got into spirituality, more meditation, and all that kind of stuff. I got into all that stuff gradually, partly because of these classes and things, gradually developed awareness about becoming a vegetarian, which I always kind of thought I might be someday. But I ate meat my whole life. I ate meat every single meal virtually, and a day did not go by when I didn't eat meat every single day. I was not anywhere near a part vegetarian or half-time vegan or anything like that. Nothing like that. But my awareness was developing. I was meditating. I was becoming aware of my body more. All that stuff. Decided to give up meat, or not even decided. Just started to lose interest in it. Just completely started to lose interest in it. Then one night, didn't feel like eating it at all. Decided not to eat it, and I never ate it again. I never ate meat again. Never missed it. Nothing. Same thing, detox symptoms, felt a bit better. So that was good. So now I'm, drinking lots of water, no alcohol, no caffeine, no sugar, no meat, thinking this is it. And I was at a perfect healthy weight, skin looked good, I was healthy. And me and my girlfriend at the time, we went to New York, we went on holiday, came back, and I was there as a vegetarian, came back from New York, and not long after that, was still kind of searching, I suppose, and my friend put up vegan something, Earthlings documentary, and she was vegan, and I kind of felt like I was ready to see this. I'd been avoiding this vegan thing, but I was ready to see it. I watched Earthlings, and I thought, okay, I'm doing this, but I didn't know how to be vegan. So I researched the protein thing, came across this video that said the protein myth. That appealed to my conspiracy theory mindset, and I clicked on that, and I watched it, and it was Tim Van Orden, and he was talking about how he doesn't eat protein, and how he eats fruits and vegetables. And he's still got muscles, and he's strong, and he runs up runs up buildings and all that. And the light switched on for me instantly, because I was thinking about all my life up to that point. I'd be questioning things, asking questions, thinking, why are things like this? Why is everything like this? I was always asking too many questions, always trying to work things out. Why is it the animals seem to be living in harmony with nature? How come we've got such a complex life? We've got buildings, we've got heating, we've got clothing, we've got all these rules. Why our food has to be cooked? How would I survive in the forest, in the wilderness? That's what I was wondering. And when this raw food concept came along, I was like, that makes sense. It makes sense on my spiritually developing path, because I'm trying to get, the higher energy or whatever. That makes sense. Makes sense on my vegan path, and it makes sense on my whole trying to understand the world. Because of course it makes sense. Human beings are frugivorous. That all makes sense. It all started to make sense. Light bulb came on. And I started to experiment with raw very quickly, and I was very enthusiastic. I also had a friend at the time called Gareth, who was going to the same kind of spiritual classes. He was talking about raw food a little bit. He was improving his diet all the time. He was like trying to get away from the bad foods and stuff. So he was an influence as well. But I always take a concept and I kind of take it a bit too far, you know? I take it to the limit. And a lot of people dabble their feet in, learn enough, you know, and get something out of it. But I really grabbed this and kind of went for it and wanted to really experiment with it and see what happens when you do this like the best. What happens when you, because I'd always seen these improvements in my life and improvements in my health, improvements in my body, improvements. I thought, let's stop the gradual improvements. What if we go for the top and just stay there? What happens if we go for the best diet all the time? What are you going to feel like? And that got to me. That idea, the healthiest, the best all the time, how great would you feel? That was the promise to me of the raw food diet. So I started to research raw foods, getting into it, learning more about it, tried it out and failed miserably. Decided I'm just going to try and stay raw for a week. Done it completely wrong, failed completely, felt good the first few days, ran out of energy like the third day or something like that. Completely tried to go running, tried to be like Tim Van Orden, go out running, ran out of energy completely. Bonked or something, as some people call it. Wasn't carved up and all that stuff. Failed. All the people at work, I told people at work I was going to go raw for a week. After a few days, I was no longer raw. They were like, oh, what was happened? So I kept on trying, failing, kept on trying, failing. I got really into it and I was loving the experience of it. Within the first week of going vegan and going raw, which basically I did at the same time, my energy was turning into like a childlike energy. I was changing as a person. I was feeling the change in my body. I was feeling pains that were starting to accumulate in my joints disappear, in my knees and in my hips. Start to feel these pains disappear. And so I got very enthusiastic about it. And if anyone that goes raw, you feel sometimes so great. You sometimes feel some amazing experiences and stuff happening in your body and happening in your head and your mind, and like things are healing, things are getting better, things are improving, the body's getting the nutrients that it's meant to have. It's like the key is now in the lock properly in your life, in your health. Now it's getting everything it needs. Now it's working. Now this is how it's meant to feel. You go to the toilet, you feel your digestion. This is how it's meant to feel. This is how it's meant to feel when you go to the toilet. It's not meant to be challenging or all that kind of stuff. So I really found this amazing thing. And all I could really find was people online. Didn't know anyone in real life doing it, of course. So I was looking online, following people, found people that were my heroes, the people that I was following that were my idols, my heroes. And I was listening to their every word, and I was, trying to find as many people as possible, trying to learn from everyone. Came across some websites, trying to learn from all these people, and I was just looking up to them so much. I respected them so much for the fact that they were doing this thing that was, to me, seemed so hard, but they were doing it to feel great and all that. And I just thought, what is that like? What's that ultimate peak level of life like? And this festival comes along that I see on YouTube, Woodstock Fruit Festival, and I look at it and I feel like I'm seeing paradise on earth. And I'm thinking, this has been missing all my life. People like that. Because I was always a healthy person surrounded by loads of people that didn't care about their health. Like, oh, here's people that care about their health. Here's people that care about the planet. Here's people that give an F the way that I do about their actions, about the impact of their actions. And they're all together, they're happy, they look great, the energy looks incredible. It looks like they're all kind of enlightened, energetic beings. And I'm like, man, I need to get there. But I was scared. I didn't go at first. I didn't immediately jump on it. I didn't immediately think this is the right thing for me. I was scared. Never been to a country on my own. By that time, I'd actually broken up with my girlfriend. I was single. And I was looking at it. I was working full time at that time. And I was looking at it. And I was thinking, yeah, it looks good. And I thought about it and I thought about it. And it was in my mind, this raw food. It was in my dreams. It was like I was imagining, it was just consumed me, you know. I was seeing it everywhere. I felt like every word was saying, you know, was confirming for me to keep on doing this. I was sitting at a bus stop one day, and I was thinking about, should I go to this festival? Should I go? And this van pulls past right at that moment, and the side of the van says Woodstock. And I think, okay, this is a sign. This is a sign. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. So I went and bought my ticket, or I went and applied. But it turned out I'd applied one day too late, so I had to pay more, and I was like, oh no. And I had to pay more. I booked it one day late or whatever. So I paid more than I thought I was going to, but that didn't put me off. And I started to meet some people online on the forum that was there at the time, and went to Woodstock Fruit Festival. Flew into New York. This is how naive and unexperienced I was. And the funny thing is, I was like 26. Yeah, it's like 10 years ago. 26, 25, 26, 27. I went there and I came off the plane. I was meant to go. I'd booked this flight, and there was meant to be, on that day, there was meant to be a meetup in Central Park that I had partly put together because I was in the forum and I'd helped put it together. So I was meant to be at this meetup in Central Park. Was very optimistic about how quick it would be for me to get through the airport, and it turned out there was a massive queue for the thingy getting through the airport, getting through into the US. And so I was late, and eventually got through, and it was dark, and obviously the meetup would have been finished by then. And I'm in this airport in JFK, and I go to get money out, and my card won't give any money out. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm stuck in the US. I can't get any money out of this card. Probably not get any US thing on my phone. Can't pay for it anyway. What am I going to do here? How am I going to get to this? How am I going to get to this hotel? How am I even going to pay for my hotel? Can't even pay. I had £15. Changed that. Managed to get on a train to go into New York. And at some point in this process, I got a phone call from a girl who was in the forum, and she's somehow I'd give her my phone number. She gave me a phone call. She said, "Where were you? You meant to be at the meetup. What happened?" And I said, "Oh, flight was late and all this stuff was late, and I've got no money and I can't get money out." She goes, "Where are you?" She came and picked me up with a guy. They were both Turkish background. They picked me up. They took me to a Trader Joe's or a Whole Foods. They bought me fruits. They came to my hotel. They paid for my hotel. And they said, "See you tomorrow." And that was my introduction to the spirit of this movement and the people and the festival. And I just thought, wow, this is great. These people have just, out of the blue, completely helped me with no connection to me whatsoever. Woke up the next morning, went downstairs. All the fruit's been scoffed. There's guys there with bananas. They're all smashing the bananas. That was the protocol back then. Everyone, of course, was in bed at 9 p.m. They were all making sure they were getting plenty of sleep. And we all woke up that day to go and find our way to the bus. And this is part one of this video. I'll follow this up with a part two, but I'm coming up to the end of this. And we went to get on the bus to go to the Woodstock Fruit Festival in 2012. The first time it was at Camp Walden. And that's where I'm going to leave this story. And anyway, if you want to start your own Fruitfest story, you can click on the link below and go to fruitfest.co.uk. But thank you for watching, and I'll put the next video up in a moment.